Welcome to the channel, everybody. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you my top 3 mid-handicap irons that I think you should consider if you're looking to purchase a new set of golf clubs. Now, in a previous video, I have given you my kind of like top 5 irons for mid to high handicap golfers. In this video, we're focusing on the mid-handicap golfer, maybe even moving slightly lower into that lower handicap bracket. And these could be players that have maybe been good golfers, kind of getting a little bit older or lack of time, so therefore moving up in their handicap range, or golfers that actually just play good golf but don't necessarily get a lot of time to play, or even players that are coming down nice and quickly with their handicap. Now, I'm not saying all of you are going to fall into the bracket that I'm kind of focusing on today, but there is a large proportion of people that I feel play good golf but sometimes need a little bit more consistency. And I feel that consistency comes from looking down at a club that gives you confidence. So nothing too small, but nothing too big at the same time. So you're kind of falling into that little bracket there. We're also looking for clubs that have a good amount of consistency across the face. So we all have off-centered strikes, and if you're not playing a lot of golf, then probably having a club that's going to give you a little bit of consistency out the toe and out the heel, or even low and high on the face, giving you that ball speed, maintaining that speed to get that ball to your target for the yardage that you're looking for. So when I'm choosing the clubs that I'm choosing from today, I'm going to look at those areas as well. And we're also going to look at price, because actually price is really important for lots of us. So I'm going to whittle it down to my top 3, but I do have 7 irons here that I want to sort of quickly run you through. And what I want you to do now is I want you to pause this video, go down into the comments section and tell me which club is going to be my number 1 club for this test and this video. First up, in number 7 spot is the JPX 923 forged iron by Mizuno, coming in at 30 degrees of loft when we start off with the 7 iron, and a price range of a recommended retail of £180, $187 per club. Now, this club launches off the club face at nearly 18 degrees with a ball speed of around 117 miles an hour and a spin rate of around 5.6 on an average, which for a 30-degree club, that's not too bad. It's kind of falling into the category of like between my 5 iron and my 6 iron that I would, let's say, use in my set. But to be honest with you, from a carry point of view, at 161 yards, this falls quite nicely into the category for mid to low handicappers. But what I do love about this club is just how compact it looks down by the ball. Nice thin kind of top line, not too much offset. So it's going to really fall into the bracket for lots of players out there that like to look at something that's maybe just a little bit smaller. I think this one could work really well. But at £180, launching at around 18 degrees and a spin rate of 5.6, I'm not sure we're going to get the control that we're kind of looking for when it comes to hitting a 7 iron. Therefore, this is why I've put this at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is the TaylorMade P790, kind of a fan favorite. This is sold massively around the world, and this is obviously the new generation. Now, from a recommended retail point of view, this comes in at around £170, around $200 per iron, with a loft degree of 30.5 degrees, so getting a little bit more loft than we got out of the Mizuno. Now, from a numbers point of view, remember 0.5 degrees more loft out of this 7 iron, but it's launching a little bit lower than what I'm getting necessarily out of that Mizuno at 17.3 on an average. Ball speed up by 1 mile an hour. And then the spin numbers are pretty much very similar, 5.6, maybe pushing up to 5.7. And then an average carry of 166 yards, which is just a little bit more than what I'm getting out of that Mizuno. But where I feel that the TaylorMade maybe just beats the Mizuno just slightly is just from a confidence point of view. I just think that offset-wise, they look very much the same. From a profile of head, I feel like the TaylorMade maybe just looks a little bit bigger. And I'm not saying it's necessarily bigger from, let's say, across the face, but just on that top line, I feel that it's just slightly thicker, not too thick because it's fallen into this bracket of club, but it's just going to give lots of players just a little bit more confidence that they've got a little bit more help behind that ball. Then we have at number 5, the Titleist T200 iron. 30.5 degrees of loft, so the same as what we're getting out of that TaylorMade, with a recommended retail in the UK of £178, in the US $200. And I recently did a video of a compare between the P790 and the T200, and I kind of pushed the T200 a little bit ahead of that P790. And the reason I did that is because I felt like I got a little bit more spin, a little bit more control maybe out of the T200. Ball speed off the club face, we're looking at 119 mile an hour, launching it at 18 degrees, so pretty much the same kind of launch as what I'm getting maybe out of that Mizuno. But from a spin-wise point of view, I've picked it up now to around 5,000, nearly close to 6,000 revs, just short of that at 5.9, and then an average carry of 167 yards. So that's kind of the reason why I've put it just a little bit ahead of that P790. But from a profile point of view, this is again going to fall into the bracket, probably similar to the Mizuno, where you're looking at the mid to low handicap player, because when you look down at this T200, from my eye, this looks really nice. It's very minimal offset. It's got a very thin kind of top line, very compact looking kind of player's distance iron is what Titleist call it. So for me, again, like I said, it's going to fall into that bracket of mid to low handicap players that are maybe moving out of a blade into something that they want a little bit more forgiveness with it. But just because of those spin numbers and a little bit more control is why I've put it in at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is the Srixon ZX5 Mkii. 31 degrees of loft, 167 pounds on an average recommended retail, and $185. So a couple of things that really jump out to me when it comes to this ZX5 is just a little bit more launch out of it, maybe dropping a fraction in ball speed compared to the others because the loft is just picked up just a fraction at 31 degrees, but launching it in the sort of 19.5, 19.6 degrees on an average, 116 mile an hour off the club face with a spin rate of around 5.9, very, very similar to what I'm getting out of that T200. And then because the spin's up and the launch is up, I'm just dropping off maybe fractionally in that distance at 159 yards as an average carry, but off the club face, it does feel pretty good. It just feels slightly different to the rest. It's a bit more poppy off the club face, but what I like for lots of players is we all want to be able to launch that ball maybe just a little bit higher. It's going to help with that stopping power coming into the greens. But where I think that Srixon have done really well is that they've got that compact looking head, very similar to the others of minimal offset, but they do have a kind of a squarer top rail here, which kind of looks like it's a little bit bigger, which I think again is going to give lots of people plenty of confidence. So with the numbers that we're getting from it, with the tech that's in it and that different sound off the club face and that little bit more confidence, I'm putting this in at number 4. Now we're going to move into my top 3. And leading in at number 3 is the Sub 70 699 iron. Now this club is remarkably coming in at £100 RRP and $80 RRP in the US. We've got 30 degrees of loft on the 7 iron that I'm testing. And honestly, the numbers that I'm getting from this particular iron is very, very good. I'm getting around sort of 6.2 in the spin, which is a lot better than what I'm getting out of some of those other products there. Launching off the club face around 18 degrees and a ball speed of around 115 mile an hour. So therefore my actual distance that I'm getting from it is a little bit less than what I'm seeing in the others at 156 yards. But I think with that extra bit of spin, we're gonna get a little bit more control. And the profile of this club when I look down at it is plenty of real estate down there. It's got a nice thick top line. I've talked about this before where I was saying that it's going to give lots of people lots of confidence. It's got a nice big profile when I look down at the face of it, again giving plenty of people confidence. This one may be moving into that bracket of mid, pushing up to the more higher handicap player, but I do feel that at a recommended retail of £100, this club really works, and that's one of the reasons why I've put it into that top 3. Coming in at number 2, the Ping i230 iron. This one is a 33 degrees of loft. It really actually is more of a traditional kind of lofted iron, so I'm expecting to see lots of control from this iron. Now, this one you could say moves maybe more into the bracket of the T200 and even down into that sort of mid to low handicap bracket, and I would agree with you on that, but it would be wrong for me not to put in a ping into this test. And coming in at number 2, at £180 RRP in the UK and $187.50 in the US, it pretty much fits in that bracket that we're talking about with the rest of these clubs. Now, looks wise, this club is probably my favorite out of all the clubs that I've been testing for this video. And actually, from the numbers point of view, I'm getting 116, nearly 117 mile an hour off the club face, so good ball speed. I'm launching it at around 19 degrees, and the spin is perfectly sitting for me at around 6,500 revs. But at 33 degrees, you would kind of expect it to be that. But therefore, with that extra spin, I'm getting a drop off maybe fractionally compared to the others at 157 yards on an average carry. But again, for me, that fits perfectly into where I'd want my 7-iron to kind of go. Now again, with very minimal offset, a nice thin top line, you're probably thinking, well, why again is this in this bracket of club? But I just feel with that nice wide long face position here, it's giving us plenty of real estate looking down at the ball, which is going to give lots of players plenty of confidence when they set up to that golf shot. And it's a beautiful club, and that's why I've put it in at number 2. And what I want you to do now is I want you to pause this video, go down into the comments section and tell me which club is going to be my number 1 club for this test and this video. Well, if you said the Callaway Apex Pro iron, you would be right. At 33 degrees of loft, £185 on an RRP, $215 on an RMP in the US, which I think is possibly a little high. However, it does fall into the bracket as my number 1 for a few reasons. And just like that ping, I'm getting all the control that I need from this iron. It's giving me 116 mile an hour off the club face. It's launching at just over 19 degrees and spinning at around 6,500 revs with an average carry of 161 yards. So getting maybe just a fraction more out of this iron compared to what I'm getting out of that ping. The feel off the club face is, as you would expect, really, really nice, but I think that small compact profile but a slightly thicker top line kind of gets that balance between a low handicapper, a mid handicapper, and maybe moving into a higher handicapper. I just think this club, with the numbers that I'm getting and the control that I'm getting with it, and the fact that it's just got that beautiful look down by the ball, this is why I'm saying it's my number 1 for this particular video. But ultimately, I'm not the one buying a new set of golf clubs. It's you that's considering purchasing a new set of clubs. And this is how I've rated them based on the numbers that I'm getting, how they look and feel to me personally. But when you go and test a new set of irons, just pick 3. Pick 3 of which ones you like the look of to start with. Go and test them, see what the numbers are going to give you. Speak to your pro about which one works for you. And then think about what they look like, what they feel like off the club face, which is going to give you the best numbers and the best opportunity to get your handicap maybe just that little bit lower. But I'd like to hear what you think down in the comments. Are you considering purchasing a new set of irons? And what did you think of this video? And do you agree that my Callaway is still the number 1?